Part 2. That Which Breathes Beneath the Earth. Adam's Diary. October 11th, 1768. I descend today. All night I did not close my eyes, not from fear. Fear is a weakness of the flesh, and the flesh I have learned to discipline. I did not sleep because it did not sleep. Every few minutes a dull, heavy sound rolled beneath the houses, as if a stone the size of a coffin were slowly turning underground. The dogs in the village howl, but they do not bark. They hear something they cannot give shape to. It patrols the territory, like a shepherd checking his fence. I took with me a lantern with thick glass, rope, holy water, a silver cross, and the book of the great rite of exorcism. Before leaving, I knelt for a long time. I did not ask for protection. I asked for firmness. For I know, when a demon senses hesitation, it burrows into it like a worm into fruit. The villagers stood near the entrance to the mine. None of them looked me in the eyes. They have already begun to believe that beneath the earth is their new master. I have not. At the entrance, we cleared the buried opening before dawn. The soil was strangely loose, as if it had been repeatedly churned from within. From the darkness came dampness and warmth, not the cold of a cave, the warmth of a living hollow. I bent down and touched the edge of the stone. It was faintly warm, barely, but enough for it not to be coincidence. If I do not return by sunset, I told Elder Martin, seal the entrance and do not attempt to search for me. And if it comes out, he whispered. I looked toward the mountains, then pray faster than it moves. And I stepped into the darkness. The first meters. The mine was narrow. The air quickly became thick, heavy. Each breath felt as if it passed through damp cloth. The wooden supports creaked. I heard droplets of water slowly falling from the ceiling, striking stone with a sound too loud for comfort. When a man walks in complete silence, he begins to hear himself. The heart, blood in the temples, cloth rubbing against skin, and through it, another sound. Faint. Friction. As if something were moving slowly, far ahead. I raised the lantern. The flame flickered, though the air should not have stirred. Scratches appeared along the walls, long, deep. Stone torn as if not by metal, but by something heavier and alive. And in places the surface was strangely smooth, as if an enormous body had rubbed against the same stone for years. I touched that section. It was damp and warm. Deeper. The mine should have ended in a dead end, so the old records claimed, but the tunnel continued, and gradually its shape began to change. Human traces disappeared. The walls became rounded, as if worn by centuries of an underground river. But there was no water here, only air, warm, moist, living. And then I understood. This is not a mine. It is a throat, a passage through which it moves. I stopped, and for the first time I clearly heard breathing. Slow, deep, rhythmic. It was not hiding. It was waiting. The cavern. The tunnel led me into a vast hollow. The lantern's light did not reach the ceiling. Droplets fell into darkness at intervals that disrupted the rhythm of the heart. At the center was a pit, round, deep, its edges smooth as if polished, and steam rose from it. I stepped closer. Warmth struck my face, and then I heard a sound that was not a sound. a whisper without words, a multitude of voices without a voice. My mind tried to arrange it, and within the chaos, I heard my name. Adam. I do not fear my name in the mouth of the devil. I fear when it disappears from the mouth of God. You speak the name of the one who has come to cast you out, I said. Something stirred within the pit. At first, I saw only the surface, gray, wet, smooth yet covered with small openings. It rose slowly, as if a heavy body accustomed to depth did not hurry toward the air. And then I saw its scale. It was as thick as a well shaft, long, without clear form. Along its sides, short, muscular appendages moved slowly, bracing against the stone. And it had no eyes, only openings. Dozens, hundreds. Yet I felt its gaze. Inside the mind. It did not speak. It showed. Darkness beneath the houses. A child's crying fading into silence. The warmth of a body slowly cooling. And deep satisfaction. Not from feeding, from the process. It fed on the fear of waiting. I felt pressure building in my skull, as if invisible fingers were trying to force apart the bones of my head. I fell to one knee, not from defeat, from weight. You are not the master here, I whispered, and cast holy water upon it. The strike. The sound was like a crack splitting a mountain. Its surface convulsed. The openings widened, and it lunged forward. I did not finish the prayer. One of the appendages struck my chest. Air burst from my lungs. My back slammed against stone. The lantern fell. Light spun wildly along the walls. Darkness came alive. It moved fast, incredibly fast for its mass. The body contracting and expanding, sliding along stone without sound. I began reciting the rite louder. Each word cut the air. It stopped. And for the first time, I saw the openings across its skin contracting in unison, as if it were listening. Older than sin. In that moment, I understood. This is not merely a demon that crawled from hell. This is something older. Something that lived in the darkness of these mountains before the first cross was raised upon this land. And the people, by building their village, awakened it. The cavern trembled. Stones fell from the ceiling. It slowly withdrew toward the pit, and before it submerged, I clearly heard within my mind, they are already inside me. I do not know if that was truth, but I know it wanted me to believe it. The return. I emerged covered in dust and blood from my split lip. The villagers stepped back at the sight of me, and I immediately sensed something terrible had happened. A man had vanished. Not a child, an adult. He had stepped outside after hearing a sound beneath the floor. He was never seen again. But this time, blood remained. Dark, thick, still fresh, and a circular depression in the ground. It no longer hides. It answers the challenge.
Realization. I sit now in the chapel. The floor vibrates faintly. It is moving, slowly, choosing. I have seen its form. I have felt its mind. And now I know it is not merely hunting. It is preparing. Beneath the village are hollows, growing emptiness. And if I do not stop this, one morning Greymar will simply collapse under its own weight. Tomorrow I will return below, but this time I will not merely descend. I will force it to rise, even if I must become the prey it has so patiently awaited. For the darkness that lives beneath the earth must see the light, even if the light is the last thing I see. End of Part 2.